The end of an era very well could be. Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder from, oh my God, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, brutally knocked out in the 5th round by Zhilei Zhang of China. First, I gotta say congratulations to Zhang. I told you guys on my channel, this was a super difficult fight from my perspective. Before, like, as soon as they announced this, I was like, oh, this is a super difficult fight for Wilder, right? I've met Wilder. I've met Zhang. I got pictures with both of them in my cell phone. The thing with Zhang is he's a big dude. Now, Wilder's an inch taller, but in terms of their build, it's not really the same. If boxing were to, just to give you guys perspective, if boxing were to split itself into 2 different leagues, a heavyweight and maybe a super heavyweight, Wilder wouldn't be a super heavyweight. He would be at the regular heavyweight. Zhang would be a super heavyweight because he pushes like almost 300 pounds. Now, there was a 70-pound weight difference, which I already told you. Nothing new for Wilder. He's always fought bigger dudes. But what went wrong for Wilder to me is, I think part of what makes Wilder Wilder has been dormant or absent since the Tyson Fury fight. You know, those were tough losses. I don't know psychologically if he fully got over them. You know, those are like must-win scenarios. So it's almost like Wilder style. They tried to evolve. He started training with Malik Scott. You know, it looks like they were working on different things, but I think it took Wilder from what got him here. Wilder is not necessarily known as like a cerebral, technical fighter, straight up and down, you know what I mean, like that. He was dynamite, really, in both hands, especially the right hand. And he was like a fighter to me that relied on athleticism and that apex predator instinctual ability, where a lion, when they see a gazelle, they don't have to think. If they're hungry and it's time to eat, they're off to the races. You know what I mean? And Wilder had that animal instinct. More recently, it looks like he's trying to box. And I told you, you can go watch my watch party before the fight came on. And anybody who would listen on social media, I told you that would not be a good thing to try to match wits with someone 70 pounds heavier than you and try to outbox you or outbox them. Zhang is almost 300 pounds. He's like 70 pounds bigger than you. He has power. He is pretty durable from what I've seen. He fought Joe Joyce twice, didn't get stopped. He actually stopped Joe Joyce. He fought against Joseph Parker, hurt him, right? I thought he really beat Philip Ergovich, who lost to Daniel Dubois, right? So I've covered both fighters extensively, and I think something is just missed. The other thing with Wilder is inactivity. I feel like Wilder is a type of, he has so much heart. It's like live by the sword, die by the sword. And for the opportunities and maybe the money even, Wilder's willing to take any chance, and that's just always how he's been. He's taking the risky fights. But at some point as a fighter, you know, when you need to work on things or you're coming off of losses, I don't think you should be taking tough fight after tough fight after tough fight after and not giving yourself any breaks. Coupled with what I just said, which was inactivity. Wilder hasn't been the most active person, and I don't think people realize that since the Tyson Fury fight, I believe Wilder won one fight that lasted one round in like the last 5 years. People don't put this into perspective. See, I think where a lot of fans go wrong with their picks and parlays and stuff is people are wishful thinkers. So I think people are always looking for, you know, the best of the fighter, the in prime version of the fighter, things like that. But boxing is, from what I've seen, is really a sport of what have you done for me lately, right? So you got to be mindful of the recent performances. And like I said, Wilder, if we're dating back for the last like 4 or 5 years or whatever, he has one victory, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull it up. We can get to the bottom of it right now. Boom. We're on Wilder's box rec. Right? 43-3 with 2 stoppages. Fury and now Zhang. So let's look at it. Zhang just stopped him. So that's a loss. Parker was a loss. That was last year. So look, 2024, 1 fight, Zhang, loss. 2023, 1 fight, Parker, loss. And he fought 1 time in 2022, and he won against his, like, someone he sparred with, Robert Helenius. And Robert Helenius, that lasted 1 round. So pretty much, if you think about it, since 2022, he's had 13 rounds in the ring, right? And then, of course, the Tyson Fury loss and Tyson Fury lost in 2020. So from 2020 all the way to now, he's lost in all those fights except for the Robert Helenius fight. So I think there should have been at some point more activity where Wilder gets in there with people where he could test new things, learn with Malik Scott, and pretty much pick up some easier wins. But like I said earlier, live by the sword, die by the sword. Wilder's not built like that. He got so much heart, so much guts and glory. Maybe he feels he wouldn't train hard or get up for those lesser fights. I don't know. I don't know why they moved it like that, but they put him in with tough fight after tough fight in like these like crazy do or die scenarios. Like he's coming off a loss to Joseph Parker, and Joseph Parker weighed 245 in a quarter and Wilder weighed 213. Zhilei Zhang weighed 282 in 3 quarters and Wilder weighed 214. So Wilder is being outweighed by virtually everyone he fights. There's no breaks, there's no activity. I guarantee if I go to Parker, Zhilei Zhang, and all their box rec, they've been far more active. Like before the Wilder fight, Zhilei Zhang, he was fighting because I was watching his fights with Joe Joyce and stuff that I mentioned earlier. So a lot of things went wrong. As far as the fight, it wasn't like this crazy scintillating fight. First round, they were both kind of cautious, respectful of each other. Rounds 2, 3, and 4, pretty much of the same. Both looking for their shots. Wilder had his right hand cocked, but he wasn't just letting it go. Zhilei Zhang wasn't the most active. They said that Zhang is like he throws some of the fewest punches in the heavyweight division. Only problem is he's big, he's a southpaw. When he does throw and when he does decide to let his hands go, it's usually dangerous. And then in the 5th round, the final sequence was Wilder had a right hand that he was trying to send, and it was a bit slower or wider, and he got grazed across the face. Ooh. And it definitely buzzed him and got his attention. Immediately after getting grazed, because I think the momentum from throwing your own punch plus getting punched, it like rerouted him. It's like GPS. It rerouted Wilder, spun him around, and then Wilder, I don't know if he knew, he might have been like cobwebby and he didn't know where he was at or something, but it looked like he was trying to complain to the ref. His hands were down. All this was available. Zhilei Zhang seen that he had spun around and how he reacted, right? And he just went in for the kill. So that's Wilder. You see Zhilei Zhang is like, what? Hold on. Wilder did this full 360. Back is completely turned. And he's like complaining to the referee. And you can see, look at the boy Zhilei Zhang's face. He's like, oh, okay, he's hurt. You know, what's going on? And while Wilder was doing that, Zhang's creeping up behind him like MC8 in Menace to Society. Bow! Lights out. And then Wilder, it was a protect yourself at all times type of knockout. brutal stuff. Boxing is not for the squeamish. That's for sure. It was hands down, man down. Wilder, that little sequence of him losing focus or being rocked and buzzed from the shorter shot from Zhang, who's a power puncher, who's almost 300 pounds. Who knows what he weighed when he rehydrated. And it spun Wilder around. Wilder's like pandering to the ref. Zhang is fighting. Zhang is throwing punches. Fight over. It's a legal fight. Punch. And it was just a bad sequence for Wilder. You see Wilder in the picture. Wilder got knocked out, you know? So a lot of, I feel a type of way. And I'm going to tell you why I feel a type of way. Again, I think Wilder, he was too tough for his own good. Like Wilder, like I just said earlier in this video, didn't take no pauses in terms of fighting the tough competition. Like, he just came off a loss and then he's fighting Zhilei Zhang. Like, that's crazy, especially if he's gonna fight bigger. Like, some of these other guys are getting to fight whoever, guys not as good, you know what I mean? And then Wilder's just tough fight after tough fight after tough fight. Then he's in between two styles, you know, whatever happened from the Tyson Fury fights and, you know, being through some wars, being older, maybe some of that killer instinct was lost. And, you know, on top of that, you got the inactivity, and he's always at the weight deficit. And unfortunately for boxing, this is oftentimes what you see. For example, when a fighter is considered maybe a one-trick pony or heavily reliant on certain attributes like natural speed, you know, rely on their chin, rely on not fundamentals, not like stuff you learned in the boxing gym. You're relying on your power. You didn't learn power. And I'm talking about the gym didn't give you power. The gym didn't give you a chin. The gym didn't give you necessarily athleticism. Some people are born with that, right? So what I'm saying is, unfortunately, these fairy tale stories in boxing where you have these athletic guys, a lot of times this happens later in their careers when, like Roy Jones Jr., he slows down just a little bit. Then guys like Antonio Tarver, who's an Olympian, has a lot of fundamentals and doesn't break all the rules. That's when they get to shine against the fighters like that, because Roy slowed down maybe just a little bit coming down from heavyweight, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with Sergio Martinez. After fighting a much bigger Julio Cesar Chavez and messing up his leg and his tendon, he was now like gimpy and he couldn't move around. And that's part of what made Maravilla Sergio Martinez who he was. That's why you've seen a much smaller Cotto get in there and dominate Sergio Martinez. And then now the same thing with Wilder. There's a couple things that play, in my opinion: the inactivity, fighting tough competition, kind of in between two styles, losing some of the apex predator animal instinct, that instinct to effortlessly let the right hands rip, fighting guys that are continually bigger than you, the Fury Wars, and then mistakes were made. Like you had that sequence, and when you got buzzed, you're looking to the ref and not protecting your stuff. These other guys that have been boxing their whole life, they're trained to just kill. They're trained to keep coming. Like, if you're hurt, that's my opportunity to jump on you. So Wilder made like almost a rookie mistake there by not protecting himself, shelling up or go down, take a knee or something so he can't hit you, and he got clipped. And that's where the fundamentals show, which is what I'm talking about. The boxing fundamentals, just jab, timing, ring IQ, pick your shots, like just more boxing fundamentals. Zhang looked, and I noticed this before the fight even started, he looked insanely comfortable and calm. And I mean, I think these are signs that Wilder probably should hang it up right now. And Wilder said this himself. He says he would highly consider retirement if he lost. Now that he lost by a stoppage, another stoppage to someone else not named Tyson Fury, he's off back-to-back losses. And like I said, it's unfortunate how it's all played out, but you have continued to fight the best, and now it's starting to catch up with you as you slow down, or the belief in the right is not the same, or maybe you're trying to box more. Whatever it is, it just looks like an overall different Wilder from what I've seen. So I think the journey's been fun, but Wilder should probably call it now. You know, get into boxing another way, but I just don't know. Like, I mean, Daniel Dubois, all these other guys are pretty big fundamentals there, younger, and I don't know. I don't like seeing the back half of fighters' career and then they start losing, and then now they start like DeMarcus Corley, and then they just keep racking up, or Victor Archinian, and now they just getting like stepping stone. I don't like to see that. So I think Wilder's had a great career, had a great run. I've definitely enjoyed watching his career. He said that this was a crossroads fight that he needed to win. He didn't win it. Zhang clearly won it. No excuses. He looked like he was in shape. He looked like he was at his comfortable weight. He looked like he was trying, especially in the fourth round, he was trying to let something rip. He had his best success in rounds 4 and 5. And unfortunately, round 5 is the round he got knocked out. 4 and 5 were his best rounds. But maybe that shows you some level of decline in the ability to pull the trigger. You know, some people would even liken it to Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner, when he fought one time against Marcos Maidana, I don't know if Broner ever let his hands go like we were seeing before when he was fighting Eloy Perez, when he was fighting Escobedo, when he was fighting against Gavin Reese and DeMarco. Broner was really letting his hands go, like, but then after the Chino fight, it looks like maybe that gave him some PTSD, or, you know, just did something to his style, because you have to understand, nobody wants to get knocked out or dropped or whatever in front of millions of people. So it's like a sniper. Wilder was a sniper, but part of being a good sniper is picking your shot, taking your shot when you get it, and not hesitating. You can't be like, oh, the kid just walked in the other room. If you have the shot in the scope, you got to just take it. So if you can no longer do what you're known for, which is, you know, snipe and pull the trigger on that specific shot, that means you can no longer do what you're known for, then it's probably time to retire, you know, because the sniper can't hesitate. And I think Wilder, it's weird because he had his hand cocked and he just wasn't throwing it like he did in the past for whatever reason. Maybe this is his new style. Maybe he has, you know, some thoughts about from the Fury fight. Is he's not over? I don't know, but that's what I seen. Let me know what you guys seen, and if it should be the end for Wilder, and who should Zhang fight. I think Zhilei Zhang versus Dubois would be a good fight. You guys let me know in the comment section.